Women's Sports Mix.
Cambridge Radio.
Welcome to the Women's Sports Mix. I'm Amy Gray.
And I'm Alex Elbro.
And this show, if you don't know already, is all about sports and activities for women and girls in Cambridge and South Cambs. And tonight we're catching up with Fabs Howell of Shelford Rugby Club following their International Women's Day extravaganza, wasn't it?
It was brilliant.
Loads.
It was brilliant. We're going to hear more about that and their excellent win on that day, 59-0, which I told to a friend and they did say, did the other team not turn up? But it was a really good match, wasn't it?
No,
there was
they
a
did.
lot of going on in it, but it doesn't show that. But, you know, they got the 59 though still.
And yeah, actually thinking about it, they had to go through a wall of women to get those points. They really didn't give them anything, did
No,
they? It was still a huge amount of effort, even though the scoreline heavily weighted towards Shelford.
Yeah, which was great for their Women's Day event, which was absolutely brilliant. Well done to them, and we'll hear more about that a bit later.
We've also spoken to Gisela Otten, former U's captain, played for them for more than 6 years, is now on the board of directors at the club and is chair of the women's board. A great chat we've had with Gisela about her footballing career, how she got into it, how she started in Holland as a girl, and how the season's been going for the U's.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting talk with her. And we're also going to be looking at the results for our local football teams, including the latest from Histon Ladies. And we've also spoken to Cambridge Kodiak's captain, Christine Ashley.
All coming up. This is the Women's Sports Mix on Cambridge Radio with Alex and Amy, and a warm welcome to Gisela Otten, former Cambridge United player and captain with more than 100 appearances for the club. Gisela is now the chair of the Women's Board and on the board of directors for the U's. Great to have you on the Sports Mix, Gisela. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, great to be here.
Thank you very much. And we're going to start with the news that we couldn't get on the Sports Mix last episode because it was just after we'd done the episode. But Cambridge United women are going to have a new ground in Cambridge next season.
Hooray!
I know. Yeah, I'm buzzing.
At last.
Yeah, finally. Yeah, this is proper exciting. It's something that we wanted for years, really, strategically. Obviously, it's so much better to be in Cambridge. We've loved being outside in different places. But, of course, we're Cambridge United, so we want to play in the city.
It'll be much easier for people that don't have transport to get to, which I've been saying for years, that if fans can get there, they're going to come.
Yeah.
And do you want to tell anyone where you're going to?
Yeah, so it's Grange Road. So it's a university sports ground from the rugby club, and the football university team plays there as well. So they only recently, like in November, they opened the new pitch, which is a 4G pitch. So like that means that like previously only rugby could play there, but now they have a lot more, like football can play and other sports as well. So it's an absolute game changer for the university, but also for us to be in Cambridge, indeed, as you say, and
we have
fans can come.
We know the operations manager there, Fabia Howell, who also plays for Shelford Rugby, and I know that she was talking about having the new pitch put in and how many opportunities that was going to give for everybody and make it much better. They play on that down at Shelford for the rugby, and it means that there's so many more games can go ahead.
It's playing hours, isn't it? Training, everything, because with the rugby, I think they could only do like a couple of hours a week and that's it.
It sounds brilliant. What a brilliant thing. Well, we'll be able to come and see you much easier then now, won't we?
I think logistically, absolutely, you want to be in Cambridge. The St Neots ground
is lovely.
It was nice, wasn't it? So is it going to be a fond farewell to St Neots?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I've played there myself, like for my whole career, and it's been a great pitch, great people there. We've really enjoyed playing there. So like we're gonna have a good goodbye, and then of course also excited for a fresh era, really, like new
definitely.
start.
So this is something when you were playing that was sort of on your mind as well. I want to get the team to Cambridge. So now that you're in that role, it's happened while you've been in your role as chair. So that must feel good that you brought that
Of course, there's been a lot of work before me, right? Like with people from the university, people in the current directors, like that are already there. That they've done a lot of groundwork there. So I'm definitely not taking the credit for this one. But yeah, there's good people around the club that have tried to make this work for a while.
And what we're going to do is, Gisela, we're going to go back a little bit now to how you got into football. And you weren't in the UK, you were born in Holland, so it was over there.
Yeah, so really I started playing back home as like a 6-7-year-old, really, growing up with a brother, cousins, an auntie that played football. So like it was just the normal thing to do almost. Although
so it wasn't unusual for girls to play.
It was, but I was a bit of not the most girly type girl, I would say. So for me, it was just I enjoyed playing with the boys, and like I was always the only girl in a boys' team. But for me, that wasn't a problem at all. Of course, it's exciting that's not the case anymore, that's changed. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing football from a little kid onwards.
And what happened as you got older? And a lot of people say often they're girls, like you said back then, where there wasn't as much infrastructure for the young girls to play, they get to a certain age and then it becomes, regardless of your skill level, it just becomes harder to play against boys. So what did you do as you got older?
Yeah, so I played with the boys till maybe like age 13, 14. And then in my club, which was just a village club really, they started a girls team, so I joined that team. I could still keep up with the boys up to that age, but then realistically they get so much faster and stronger than you that at some point that you can't compete anymore. So I joined this girls team which was great. I really enjoyed it. Of course, the other girls didn't really play as well at the start, but in the end we had like a couple of seasons together and ended up winning our own sort of county cup at our age group. So like there was a lot of progress in a short time, which was exciting.
And do you think you knew back then you would end up playing for a team like the U's and you would continue with it as a career? Was that on your mind that you wanted to do that?
No, so when I was 17 I started playing for another club close to home, but playing like the top tier level. And I loved that, but like it was not a professional league in those days when I was 17, 18. So when I had to like choose like studies, my parents were always quite clear and sort of down to earth. They're farmers, so that was quite clear that it's not something I should really chase.
You need a proper job,
a real job, make some money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did you come to England for your job? You have a very interesting STEM career as well, alongside the football. Tell people about that.
So I started studying biology. I wanted to do medicine, but my grades were not good enough because I was probably playing too much football. So I ended up studying biology, and then for my degree, my master's, I did like a placement in England. I wanted to learn good English, so I went to Newcastle of all places to learn English.
Well, you learn English, but maybe not English as we know it. I love being in Newcastle, and I was there last week, but it is it's a whole dialect of its own, obviously, but it's quite hard to break through at some point.
Did you pick up an accent there?
Well, I don't think so, but like when I just came off the ferry and I asked someone for directions to find my hostel, he started talking to me and I had absolutely no clue what he was going on about.
Can you just write that down?
Yeah.
I mean, also,
but I've made it.
In that area, they have a lot of words they have different words for a lot of things. And having been up there, you almost do need translations on some of the things. You can sort of context, you can sometimes work them out, but otherwise you're like, I don't know what words you're using.
And then you need all the Finland words when you come down here.
Exactly.
And did you play football in Newcastle at all?
No, I actually stopped playing there. So then basically I was going to be there for like half a year, just a placement thing, but then I stuck around and did a PhD there, so like I was doing research in a lab. But I stopped playing, and I think for a range of reasons it just wasn't really clear what the opportunities were for me. Like, you know, you do a Google search and it wasn't very obvious what would be the right fit. But also for me personally, like the football there was on Sundays, and that was new to me because I used to play on Saturdays, and I would go to church on Sunday, so I had to sort of wrestle a bit with that, what that would look like, and I figure that one out now. But it
is hard because I think all the women's sports are played on Sunday because traditionally the men are playing on Saturday, and so the pitches aren't free. But even talking to other footballers and other rugby players, they're saying trouble is we do things, and if we do an away match and we've got to get somewhere, especially for rugby because they have to play further away and there's not so many people playing, they've got to get back and go to work on Mondays. They don't have that sort of recovery time, or they have a family, responsibilities over the weekend, and Saturdays is easier to do sport on a Saturday and have a rest or do other activities on a Sunday. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, but it feels like it's quite a sneaky way of not always getting your best, because you can imagine if you're out on a Saturday night where you're playing football on the Sunday, or you've got a busy week coming on the Monday, for work, or you're travelling or something, you think, well, I better not play on Sunday because that's going to affect. And all of these little minute things all make a big difference, don't they?
Yeah, I do agree there. Like, it's much nicer from experience to play on a Saturday, and then after the game you can have a drink with your teammates, and on the Sunday, like, have some family time and recover, really. But that's not going to change because the facilities are not sufficient in this country. Yeah.
Was it that you joined after Newcastle?
Yeah. So then I moved to Cambridge for academia, really, and to continue research here as a postdoctoral scientist. And in the first year, I still didn't play. Again, a very random one how it did come about, really, because, again, I went to church and sat next to Graham Daniels and Michelle Daniels, the wife. And it was at a time that I was actually not really committed to church and stuff. So I would hide upstairs, sit in the corner and sneak back out. But then that day I didn't sneak out and we had a good chat. And then he was like, oh, you should come and play and like go to training. So I went to St. Neots, Liz Pamplin picked me up. And the rest is history, really. That's how it came about. So very random, although I don't really believe in randomness, but yeah.
No, and I also think that's how, especially in women's sport, that's how things come about. A friend or a colleague happens to do something, you think, oh, well, that might be all right, I'll give it a go. And then find out actually you've got a real talent for it. But it's not always necessarily there because you don't see the paths. I think now more and more you are.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Yeah, it's like you were saying in Newcastle, like where do you start looking back when there wasn't quite as much, and now hopefully it's much more accessible for people that want to play.
But also it's going to be more easier to attract students and stuff. Now we're at Grange Road because, for example, in my case, I didn't have a car. Like when you work and study here, you don't have a car, right? You just cycle everywhere. So then having to drive somewhere for half an hour, you need to find ways to get there. So this is just, again, like it's making
it's a practicality, and that's what I was always saying to Darren before, that it's a really lovely place when you get there, but how do you get there? There's no buses,
and you're competing for players to, you want to be as attractive as possible, don't you, to bring the talent in. Was it 6 seasons you were at the U's?
Yeah, 5, 6. Yeah.
And how do you look back at your time there as a player?
Oh, I've loved it. Yeah, I've loved it. It's about people, isn't it? So like the different staff that you've worked with, the different players, you build friendships. Like last summer, like three old teammates that came back home with me to the Netherlands. Like you build these very strong relationships that that they're hard to build outside of these sort of contexts. And just the football itself, it's always been fun. I love the game.
And have you seen the club change a lot in the years you've been there?
Yeah. So when I just joined, it was like we would meet, train in St. Neots as well in those days, but we'd have like half a pitch and we had to fight for an hour there, and like just the circumstances were nowhere near as professional, and we still have a long way to go, but like every year I've seen steps. Previous coaches, managers really have done a great job at like getting us in the place where we are now, and of course we want to continue that growth, but no, I've seen great progress.
And when you were a player, did you always have in the back of your mind, I'd like to stay at the club, I feel that I could have a senior role here, a leadership role? Was that on your mind?
Yeah, maybe. I'd never really think ahead that much, but I do think sort of unconsciously I want to make things better. I always want to also create opportunities for others and for things to improve. And you can only do that by just, getting your hands dirty, isn't it? And the club clearly saw potential in me or like a good person to continue.
Especially as you led the team as a captain, they know that you've got that way you can talk to people, you can make the team listen to you, and that's good leadership qualities that then will take you into being able to do other things, wouldn't it? So
tell us about what your role is there as of this season. As chair of the women's board, I'm guessing you've got a hand in everything there.
Yeah. So first, it's exciting that at this football club, because you don't see that at many clubs, that the chair of the women is actually like sitting on the main board and having a say in that. It shows how like serious this club takes the women, like with a proper part of the club. So like my role, of course, I'm the chair of the women, so I really want to drive that side of the club forward. But yeah, I do get a say in everything, of course, but within my expertise, I try to speak. And I've really enjoyed it so far. The board of directors really are a great group of people, like really qualified and good at what they do, but also fantastic people and characters. So like they really care about the cause of the club and the work in the community and everything that Cambridge United is about, and you really feel that when you're around them and with them. So I, for example, love being in the boardroom on the Saturdays, try to go to as many home games of the men's that I can do, but I really love being there because you're with a group of people that really want to make a difference in the city. And of course we want to, like, performance on the pitch is key, but the club is about so much more than that, and that's what's something that really excites me.
I mean, that's a very involved role, isn't it? I mean, obviously if you're chair of the women's board, it's going to be, but that's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot to do.
There is a lot to do, and there's currently not, of course you're working a lot with volunteers, and like there's other board members, there's the general manager in Charlotte that like is part-time with the women's, and there's the female pathway, and then there's other people within the club like media and operations and that do their bit, but there's definitely things to improve there. So for example, that's why I'm excited that like for next season the owners are investing more into the women's side of the club, and we for example are going to have a full-time general manager, and that's an absolute game changer for us, because it means that you've got someone fully invested into the women's side and making that side better, and I think that
shows the commitment of the team. I mean, the club, they see that they need it and they want to grow it. It's not like they just ignore. They really are listening and finding that money from somewhere. That's brilliant. That's
got to be a big change from when you started 6 years ago, hasn't it?
It's a big change. Yeah. And it's a great opportunity for people that want to work in women's football as well, because those sort of opportunities don't exist much. So, we're very excited to see who's going to turn up for that one, really.
Yeah, that's really good, isn't it? And like you say, when you were younger, you couldn't see those pathways, but suddenly these are opening up, and they're things that 10 years ago you wouldn't even have known, or 5 years ago, you wouldn't have thought, well, actually there could be a career in this. And it's something that I really interested in, and great, you get passionate people doing what they actually want to do.
And the women's team being, I think we discussed with Liz, the women's team being part of the club, being an integral part of the club, as it should be.
Yeah, that's changed a lot over the years. Of course, it's been enough, maybe 4 years that we've been integrated, but of course it's always a process, isn't it, to be really fully integrated.
Yes, and I think coming to Cambridge next season will be
exactly, it's a next step there.
Yeah. Because we've been to the games, we've been some at the St Neots, but we've been to the Abbey games that we've had every couple of seasons, and to see all the young girls there and their families, and they're fully invested, aren't they?
Yeah, lots of young people.
Yeah, it's really lovely, and of course they're then reliant on someone being available to take them if they want to go to the other games. So it being in Cambridge is going to make it a lot easier for everybody.
Yeah, start of the season we had the QPR game with over 1,000 supporters at the Abbey. With
we were at that.
I think we were.
Yeah,
we were.
And lots of young girls, but also just like fans that like don't really go to football games, like new fans, which is exciting. But also then people that go to the men's games and like curious about the women's game. Yeah. But now it's going to be easy to retain those and get them to come to Grange Road as well.
Yeah. So let's have a look at this season, Gisela. So currently there will be a game before this interview goes out, and I think your supporters will be eyeing up probably 3 points from that one, Chesham at home. So this may well change, but at the moment 8th in the league. Looking at the beginning of the season, how do you feel about that position, how things have gone? Did you have targets in mind at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, so like, of course, start of the season was a lot of change happening in the summer, like on the board level, but also like staff. We changed the head coach, lots of players, turnover throughout the season. Nothing that we didn't expect, really, because that's what you get in a period of change. And like, because we wanted to change the culture a bit for it to become more performance-based and more competitive. And we're still in that process, really. So like where we are now, 8th in the season, no, that's exactly what we expected. Or like our aim really was to be a stable tier 4 side to start with and stabilise after all the change. So of course some people would be too ambitious and go for after the start of the season, of course, was great, and then there was almost too high hopes that we were going to compete at the top, but that we knew that was never going to be the case, really.
Would you think, speaking there about, you have Sean coming in this year, perhaps a certain amount of transition involved in that, but also there is a lot of passion, there's clear investment as well. Looking to next season, do you think then actually we would expect more from the squad and the infrastructure we've got?
Because definitely. So the expectations are going to go up. There's more investment. So we want to also offer the players more for them to thrive, really. So we want to improve the strength and conditioning side of things, the well-being side of things. Just have a way more complete package. Offer gym memberships, these type. So we really want to make things better. But of course, with that, the expectations also go up. So it's that simple, isn't it?
No such thing as a free lunch, is there?
It's a tough league. This year, if you look at, I suppose Fulham or Norwich might go up, but one of them will potentially be here next season, depending on how that goes. QPR, yourselves, themselves, it is tough, isn't it, to then
the
also
competition is tough
to have on top of that you're making these changes.
Yeah, so if you look at our league, the South East League, so at our level there's 4 leagues, like South West, Midlands, North, and the South East, because it has London in it, it's one of the more competitive leagues, really, because you get the Fulhams and like QPR, where they're investing a lot of money, which is great to see. It's good for women's football, but it pushes us to be better, and we have to keep up with it and even be better, really.
And I know Sean said a few times after the game, sometimes he said no, we needed to make more chances, other times the performance was better maybe than the result shows. There has been at the moment there's sort of a run of losses. Do you feel that where you are in the league is a fair reflection of the performances you've seen?
Yeah, I would say so. We had, like, if you look from like after Christmas, we had Sudbury to start with, where we had a good win, and then I think because we've got a younger squad and a lot of new players in, so the team cohesion is probably not where it can be yet. It becomes a bit more a bit of variation in performances. So I think it's a really fair reflection of where we are, really.
And we've got a few things coming up for Cambridge United women. The Her Game 2 fixture, tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's in, I think, 2 weeks' time, Gillingham game. So it'll be at the men's game on the Saturday, where the women will be on the forefront, really, going around the pitch at half-time. But also 2 of our players that had 100, both of them have played more than 100 appearances. Yeah,
very well done.
Yeah. Lauren Webb and Lauren Rouse.
They join your 100 club.
So they can join the club, which is great. They've been fantastic for the club, and so they really deserve the attention that are well earned.
And you've got the County Cup semi-final on. Is that the 15th? I want to say for that one.
Ooh.
Is it?
Yeah, that might
we'll
be.
have to double check on that one.
Yeah.
But then you've got the game at the Abbey on the 29th as well. With this world record attempt, how did you conjure that one up? Was it your sponsor or?
I think it was definitely coming from Majority themselves. Yeah. We basically said, like, what do you want to do to activate your sponsorship? And this was one of their ideas, which, like, I mean, it's exciting, isn't it? Yeah. So, like, for all the fans that will come to the ground, they're going to do a world record attempt with as many. So, like, Majority, what they do speakers and stuff, they sell them worldwide. Basically, they want to, like, with the Bluetooth, connect as many as possible and play. I think it's going to be an applause.
Okay.
I was wondering what they're going to choose to play, because I'm going to be like, I don't want to do that.
Music is difficult because it's all going to play at different.
Yes,
that's a good point.
So it's hard to synchronize.
Yes.
So they're going to go with an applause, and then everyone in the stands can keep their speaker as well, which is like a £40 retail price. So so it would be a great opportunity to support the team, but also, be in the history books.
So that's on the 29th at the Abbey, and you can find the details for that online to get tickets for that one. Well, brilliant, Gisela. It's been great to talk to you, hear about your new role and what's coming up for the U's as well. Thank you very much for coming in.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Cambridge Radio. Women's Sports Mix.
Yes, this is the Women's Sports Mix with Amy and Alex. Thank you to Gisela. And just to confirm, that County Cup semi-final fixture for the U's, it is indeed on Sunday, the March the 15th against Cambridge City at City's Ground in Sawston. Kick-off 2 p.m. Now on to the wonderful time that we had at Shelford Rugby Club, Alex.
Yes, it was International Women's Day last Sunday, the 8th of March, and I spoke to Fabs Howell from the Shelford Women's Rugby First 11 the day after the event. And the first question I asked her was what she thought of the day.
It was such a good day. We had loads of stuff going on down at the club. An under-16s girls tournament. We had the under-18s girls playing. We had the Rugby World Cup trophy there for people to see and have photos with. And then we had our game in the afternoon, as well as, an afternoon tea for people and lots of trade stalls and things like that. And it was just a really, really great day.
If you're going to celebrate International Women's Day, I thought it was such a brilliant thing to do. Give all my thanks to all the people that organised that, and it wouldn't have been an easy thing. It was a lot going on, and to organise all those individual events is one thing, but to do them all and make sure they all fell on the same day. And how cool to have the Women's Rugby World Cup there. I hadn't realised till I was in the afternoon tea and they started talking about it, and I was like, hello, where's that?
So it was amazing. So a couple of our girls, so Ella Duffy, who played for us and has unfortunately had to take a step back from playing this season, she's really led the committee for International Women's Day, along with a couple of other amazing women that we've got at Shelford, not just the players behind the scenes. So we've got Charlene, who's been doing so much with our sponsorship, and Claire and some other characters who've just been working really hard to get all of this stuff in place on International Women's Day. The World Cup trophy was a really cool addition. That was quite a recent thing. They're taking it on a community tour. So it's been to lots of clubs around the country, but really cool that we could have it with us for International Women's Day.
Absolutely brilliant. And I loved in one of the speeches, it was saying that you're only allowed to touch it if you have actually won it, and everyone else has to wear gloves. The temptation to touch it was immense.
As soon as I walked in, I kind of walked straight up to it, and I suppose that the guardian of the trophy was there saying, "No touching."
What an inspiration!
It was really cool to have it there.
We came along for the afternoon tea, of course, and hear talks from lots of different people as well. It was really good to be at the afternoon tea and to see so many different people from all around the club being there, ex-captains of the women's team, going back a long way, I know. We're all sitting near us and just talking about some of the changes that have been made or the changes that are happening and how proud everyone is of it all. And it was really great also to see the younger girls doing the raffle. They were very good saleswomen, getting everyone to buy raffle tickets before even your game. It was a great event and it felt very special.
Yeah, it was really nice. So Shelford's actually been one of the longest standing women's teams. And actually, we had a special match kit, which was designed by one of the under 12 girls. And they had those made, and Tyler's, who provide our kit, very kindly sponsored those for us. And then we auctioned them off after the match. And I actually ended up in a bit of a bidding war for my shirt with a lady called Kathy, who played for Shelford many, many years ago. And actually she was, so Lizelle, who plays with us now, Kathy was her first coach when she was an under 9.
Uh-huh.
And she used to play loose head prop. So she did eventually outbid me. For a moment there, my shirt was the highest. I think I ended up being the second highest. But really lovely to have people like that, coming back. And some of them are actually still around. They're still local. Their kids play at the club. So yeah, that was just a really nice. Everything outside the game was so well done. It was so great to have the support. We had lots of our sponsors down. It was just such a wonderful day.
It's nice to have a nice day for the sponsors as well. And they must feel, really proud of what they're sponsoring. We'll start, though, with the brilliant win you had yesterday afternoon as well against Cannock Lionesses, 59-0. It sounded like that was an easy ride, but it definitely wasn't.
No, it absolutely wasn't. They were a really tough team. They're big, they're very physical. They really made us work for it. They're very quick at the breakdown, and we were quite often not quick enough. They, poached the ball a couple of times and made us work really hard to get it back. So yeah, absolutely not a completely easy run of it. Luckily, we've got some really fantastic backs who worked out wide, who are absolute speedsters. Credit to Cannock. I think they were really struggling with numbers. It's a long way away. I think had it been a normal league game, they might have considered calling it off. But it was International Women's Day. They knew that we were putting a big show on, so they wanted to come and play and they wanted to come and support us in that. So they were fantastic. They were even bidding on some of our shirts after the match as well. But yeah, no, it was a really, really good game for us. We've had a tricky run recently. We've had a few injuries. So we had people playing out of position. We had a few new people in. We had Izzy Miller, who was the on-pitch captain for Cambridge in the varsity matches last week. Made their debut for us on Sunday and, instantly came on, had a huge impact, which was fantastic. We had Phoebe, who's been playing under 18s. So this is her first season kind of playing up with the seniors. And she came on the second half and, scored a great try at the end, just really displayed how good our setup is. These girls coming through the whole way from kind of under 12s, under 14s, and they are really fantastic players and the future's looking pretty bright.
We were sitting up in the stands. I think you get a really good bird's eye view of how play is going. Whereas, when you're actually at ground level, you don't always see how it moves. And
yes, absolutely.
Honestly, you could just see how well you were working as a team. It just was going right across and then back again and finding all those spaces. And I'm going to say the lineouts are pretty good as well. And you have you were doing a lot of lifting on those ones.
Yes, lots of lifting in the line outs. We're lucky that we've got, some pretty exceptional kickers. We can kick to touch to hit the line outs. And they actually also had a decent kicker. Lots of line outs, lots of set piece, which was really good. I think it showcased, all sides of what we can do. Our forwards are really strong. Our backs are speedy and, just can really make some magic out of nothing.
It was a great game. Really, really enjoyed it. And a couple of injuries, though, one of which is yourself. And how are you doing now with your shoulder?
I'm okay, yeah. Pretty big hit. Thought I'd be okay. Tried to shake off, but just wasn't quite happening. I'm still a bit sore today, but I think we'll be fine.
Let's hope so anyway. And there was another injury, arm/shoulder, earlier on from you, wasn't there?
Yes, unfortunately, it's some of our older players, me included. We just don't bounce up as quickly as we used to. We had a couple of injuries last week, which is a real shame, but actually it's really nice to show our depth, to see that we can still come back out, having lost, I'd say, 3 very consistent starters from last weekend, put out, 59 points.
Talking about last week, there was an unfortunate loss last week, but that was a cup game, wasn't it? We've already spoken about, you haven't really had many games in the cup to get into it either.
I think that was only our second cup game. We had lots of buys. People just didn't want to play. Played Guildford last week. And yes, unfortunately, that's our cup run over. It was a pretty tight game. I think it was a 24-18 loss for us. But, they were a decent side again. They're in an equivalent league to us. They were in one of the London leagues. And we made some mistakes and they really capitalised on those and just managed to run away. Well, I say run away with it. Didn't really run away with it, which is a shame. I've decided that, unfortunately, the 2 games that we've lost so far this season were the 2 games that I scored the opening try. So I'm going to try and avoid doing that from now on. I'll be passing that to someone else.
Yeah. I don't think that'll be you jinxing it, I'm sure, but it certainly feels like that, doesn't it, sometimes? And then you've got a few more games coming up for the rest of the season, but not that many now. The next one is Sunday, the 22nd of March.
We're getting to the end of it now. So a couple more league games. We've got Sunday, the 22nd and the 29th. Hoping I'll be, back and raring to go for those. Have a little break and then we'll be back for those. And then we've got a slightly bigger break. And I think our last game isn't due until the 25th of April. That's a home game. We're going to play it on the Saturday. So hopefully that'll be another really good occasion. And by that point, we should know, where we've finished in the league.
Currently sitting atop of the league. The game on Sunday is playing against the old Albanian Saints, who are sitting just below you but have some games in hand. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So they've been at the top of this league for quite a few years now. It's their second team. Their first team plays in the league above, and then they feed to Saracens. So there's nowhere they can get promoted to. So they're kind of stuck in this league. They've got a few games in hand. They're just below us. They are the only team in our league who've beat us so far this year. So that'll be a tough one for us. Hopefully we can go out and, just play our rugby and keep that kind of point difference nice and close. I'd love to get the win, but because they've got those games in hand, I think they'll probably edge us out towards the end. I don't know what happens if they run out of time and get a whole load of walkovers. There might be something there.
You've gained some points, haven't you now?
We've had lots of bonus point wins, got over those 4 tries, which is really good. And I think we've kept a few teams away from losing bonus points. So that's been fantastic for us. Yeah, we just have to wait and see what happens with the rest of the league now, really.
Yeah, and you said it's one of your most successful seasons, is that right?
Yeah, it's definitely my most successful season with Shelford. It's the most successful season we've had in quite a while because we've been in this league for about 3 seasons now. And, it was pretty tough. It's a big step up from the league below to this league. So that was a big shock. And that I think those gaps are closing now that you have more people playing rugby.
Yeah.
But last year we had a solid I think we were 3rd last year. So that was a really solid finish for us. Hopefully, get up to 1st or 2nd this year. We've won lots of games. We've played really well. We're developing a real kind of depth of squad and it's fantastic to see. And, I was watching the under-18s girls yesterday and some of those will be eligible to come up and play with us next year, which will be fantastic to have them as well.
Yeah, exactly. The future it's looking good now, but just seeing yesterday, the future is looking so good too, isn't it? Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's really nice to see. It's kind of the past, all the women who came before us, what they did for us to enable us to go out and play these games. The women who are still working for us to be able to play, and fighting for us to play on an even standing with the men, to blow our own trumpets. We're doing a lot better than the Shelford men are this season, but lots of the people around there just don't even think about us. They focus on the men's team, as it is with most clubs, and we're kind of saying, hi, we're here too, and we're playing a really, really good standard of rugby, and you should come and watch us, and you should come and support us and get behind us. And then looking forwards to the future, the talent that's coming in, what we can do for them to enable them to play as much rugby, get all these people into sport and just loving it.
It's wonderful, isn't it? It's brilliant. Well, thank you, and thank you for all you did, and thank you to all your team. Please send them our best wishes and say how much we enjoyed yesterday. It was absolutely brilliant, and I'll see you soon.
I will do. Thank you so much for coming. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Cambridge Radio Women's Sports Mix.
And thank you again to Fabs Hal and everyone from Shelford Rugby team for making us so welcome last weekend, and for the great event that they put on. It's so wonderful to see now that this is becoming part of the norm, and they had 3 different matches going on, and some tournaments as well in the morning, and people are there to support. It was a big turnout, wasn't it?
It felt like a great atmosphere, that something was really happening. I think with International Women's Day, people can get a bit, tired about all these days and things, or what does it mean? Is anything actually happening? Then you go somewhere local like Shelford Rugby and you see that is worth doing.
Absolutely.
International Women's Day. It was so good.
And it was very, very relevant. It wasn't just a kind of virtue signalling sort of thing. Oh, we'll just put something on to...
Absolutely not, because you can see all the girls and women playing and know how far sport has come over the years.
And as I mentioned when I was talking to Fabs, the younger team were very good at sales. Getting everyone to buy raffle tickets.
They had some good prizes, though.
I know, and you went through all the prizes, deciding which ones we were going to win.
Which one I needed.
Yeah,
champagne,
and then did I ever get a phone call about any of them? No. So I'm afraid I can't share anything with you because I didn't win anything. And it was a fight for the rugby. Well, not a literal fight. There was a bit of a scrum to keep it in with the rugby for the bidding on the shirts, and I'd really wanted one of those, but their bidding was fierce, and I felt it should go to the team, should have first dibs.
We liked those shirts.
Yeah. They were really lovely.
They were really cool design, and we had a great time. And this is a small thing, they did so many daffodils on the table.
They did. That was really lovely.
They'd really gone to a lot of effort for the cream tea or afternoon tea.
Lots of lovely food as well. I mean, I felt there was a couple of spaces next to us, and she did say at one point, is anyone sitting here? And we weren't sure because we didn't know who else was coming. So I think we got an extra platter.
We'll have that plate.
We'll work through those.
It had the veggie, the cheese sandwiches and things on it. So we made our way through those.
You
didn't want to be rude.
Rolls,
didn't want to leave them there. Yeah, and I had Alex's
You had my sausage roll.
We did say that we took that from the sausage rolls in front of other people. And I was like, I'm going in for a second sausage roll, but it's my friends.
And they were trying to get us to have more.
They were like, no,
it was all right. It was all good.
And as you were saying to Fabs, we hadn't realised, because we got there a bit late, because Alex had been on the cheer squad for Alzheimer's UK,
which we'll go on to in a moment.
The half marathon. It meant we got there a bit late, so they kind of ushered us up to the afternoon tea, and we didn't know that the cup was there.
I know. When they mentioned it, I was like, wait, what? And
the cup's here.
It's very golden as well.
Yes.
But they wouldn't let you go anywhere near it unless they had the minders there making sure. But lots of people got photos with it, and so you can imagine, as a young rugby player playing that tournament in the morning, to get your picture by the World Cup. I'm going to say, when they're playing for England in the future, or any of the other teams, there are other teams in the international play, they'll look back on that photo, won't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you remember when posed by the cup, and now
that'll be their start-off moment. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So, are we going to move on to the half marathon now?
So the half marathon, yes, where I collected you.
You did.
And we found each other.
Complicated, wasn't it?
Well, I was going to meet Alex on Lensfield Road, because we discussed this on the last episode. Alex was like, I'm going to be like a celebrity going from here to here. I'm going to get there quickly.
We were talking about the bike, but actually,
and in the end,
Amy was the kind person.
I thought I'll intercept Alex, and I said, I'm on Lensfield Road, but there's someone right. When there's someone right behind you, I said, I'm going to have to keep driving.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm turning into Tennis Court Road. And you were like, oh, I'm on tennis court. And there you were.
I was just walking towards you, wasn't I?
Very neon bright orange outfit. I was like, hey.
Which, yes, so if anyone doesn't know, the Alzheimer's Research UK, orange is one of their colours. It is for other charities, so sometimes it can be a bit confusing. But a few years ago, I bought myself one of their hoodies because invariably when I do the cheer squad, it's quite cold. And they give you a T-shirt, which is lovely, but unless you're going to get it on over top of your coat, it's not going to be so good. So anyway, I wore it over there, but it was very bright, and we had bright orange hats as well, which went down very well for cheering. But then I realised I walked into Shelford, didn't I, wearing all orange. I looked like I'd been tangoed. But it's such a brilliant thing. I would say if anyone fancies doing any volunteering on a race day for any of the charities, the amount of boost you give to runners is indescribable, really. I've said this to someone else and it feels weird because I said we were only at mile 4. Now, for me to run 4 miles would be quite a thing these days. So that's like 7k. And I'm like, oh, they're in the early part of their journey, so they probably won't need our encouragement. Well, the first sprinters, no, they were straight through. And I was really pleased. I saw the first woman run through and she got a PB of 72 minutes or something.
Ooh, wow.
To do 13 miles. Just think that through for a moment. But to see the people that are in the charity costumes or running with charity vests on, and maybe it's the first time they've run it and they've had their names on them, so you can, if you're quick, see their name and quickly shout it out, or just to give anyone encouragement and basically ring a cowbell in their ear, which probably isn't. I think we had about 2 people said, oh, that's a bit loud. I had a whistle as well, by the way. I put that away when I saw you.
Your ref's whistle, was it?
Yeah, well, no, not quite my ref's whistle, but yeah, it was that sound though. But I could only do it for a bit because it was driving myself mad. So I had a whistle and a cowbell. How about that?
Well done to everyone who took part in the Cambridge Half Marathon. Coming up next, we're talking to Cambridge Kodiak's captain, Christina Ashley.
Women's Sports Mix. Cambridge Radio.
Ice hockey time now, and the Cambridge Kodiaks have picked up another 2 points with a 4-3 win over Chelmsford Cobras. I caught up with their captain, Christina Ashley.
It was a really great game in the sense of it was very back and forth. We got caught out at the beginning. The Cobras got, to their credit, a really beautiful opening goal, but I think kind of the theme from this year is perseverance, because we never gave up. We just kept coming back. There was a couple of times that we went down in the game and we just kept pushing. And in the end, we got the win, which was really satisfying and nice to walk away with.
And you did get a hat trick in this game. Congratulations for that. And 2 of your goals came after they scored. How important is it when you're in these tight games to get straight back into it after a goal from the other team?
I mean, I think the quicker you get back into it, the less doubt that ever creeps into your mind. And also the more you sort of take the wind out of their sails, because when you go up in a game and then all of a sudden they equalize, it's just such a letdown feeling. So you have to really I think it's harder for them to then ramp back up to get back in the lead versus you've just equalized. It's a lot easier to keep that momentum going and kind of just get past where you need to be.
And let's talk about Kodiaks 2, who you coach for Kodiaks 2. A win against Lee Valley. Congrats.
Thank you. It was incredibly exciting. That's our first league win ever, which is amazing. And the team played, they were incredible the entire game. I mean, the morale on the bench just always kept up and they never stopped working. They fought really hard for that win.
And you play again against the Vampires?
We do. We've got a game coming up this weekend, which is actually in Lee Valley, and it's their Pride game as well. So they've got lots of different things happening, which should be a lot of fun. And it's always a great trip to Lee Valley. It's a beautiful rink, and they're an incredible team to play against, the camaraderie that they have. And they just bring such a nice level as well. So should be a lot of fun this weekend.
So speaking of Pride games, is also your Pride game coming up very soon, a double header against Milton Keynes. What have you got planned for this one?
We're really excited for this Pride game. Doubleheader weekends are always tough in terms of just the physicality of them, but to have the Pride game on the first night, I think it's going to give us a lot of extra energy. We've got charcuterie coming to do different announcements, so they'll be there all night. We've got different things like a few games for families and kids, bake sale, lots of different events happening. So if people can come down, it's a great night of hockey. You'll see a lot of fun. I mean, Milton Keynes are a decent rival for us because they're so close, and it's always a good matchup between them too. So it'll be a great game, but then also on top of that, just a lot of fun throughout the evening.
And I was talking to George on the previous episode about where you are in the league. You are now, is it second or second tied in the league? How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I think we'd like to have a bit more cushion in terms of being up there for playoffs, but At the beginning of the season, nobody knew how we were going to do. We went up a league, and I don't think a lot of people expected this to happen. And we're holding our own and proving that we absolutely belong here and we can do this. So if we can keep pushing, I think we can keep the Fire Bees. Hopefully we can kind of bump them down to third and then keep them at bay after that. But it'll be a battle, but it's certainly one that we're up for.
Thank you, Christina. And that Pride game is raising funds for the Kite Trust. It's on Saturday, March 21st at the Cambridge Ice Arena. And face-off is usually 6:55 for home games. Probably want to get there a little bit earlier because it's the Pride game, raising money for charity. And they then have the return trip to Milton Keynes the following evening, Sunday, March the 22nd. And here is a sport I didn't really know anything about, Alex. It's similar to ice hockey. It's called bandy. Do you know much about bandy?
Now, I don't. I've never heard of it before, but when you explained what it was, so it's playing on the icy fields when everywhere freezes up, basically.
Yeah, historically, when it was first started as a game, it was in the fen.
Then I've seen it because back in January, wasn't it, when they all froze up here? They were skating on the frozen fen in the fens.
Pond hockey was what Christina Ashley called it.
Well, that's what I would have called it as well, because I thought it was just a thing, because the fields have frozen as well, that they just played hockey on them. We were saying, oh, that's great, they've gone down. I didn't realise it actually had a name, and that's the thing. Yeah,
bandy as the sport is using sticks and a ball to score points on a large sheet of ice. So this is presumably larger than what you would have in a rink, in an arena for ice hockey. And Claire Ledbury, she described it to me, Claire described it as a mix between ice hockey, field hockey and football, because I guess if you have a ball, that's sort of the football.
Oh, so it's a ball
element.
rather than a puck. I don't know how it works on the ice,
And we do have a Team GB women's team, which Claire helped to set up, and they won a silver medal in 2022, and they are back again for the Women's Bandy World Championships. They're going to Sweden this month, trying again in 2026. I believe it's called Division B that they're in, and when I was looking at the Women's World Championships, Sweden win it a lot. And I think Russia had won it as well.
Really. I mean, they've definitely got the time to be going on ice a lot, haven't they?
And Claire isn't going this year, but best of luck to everyone who is going from Team GB, a sport from the Fens. So yeah, good luck to you all. And if you are interested in this, they are Team GB Bandy on Instagram. And you can also look up the Great Britain Bandy Association.wordpress.com website as well if you want to learn more.
I'm definitely going to be following them on Instagram because I'm fascinated. I love it that we dig up these sports that we'd never heard of, but they're going strong. Like we didn't know about korfball before we started talking about it.
Loads of people playing, enjoying World Championships, all this good stuff going on. This is the Women's Sports Mix, and we'll be looking at football next.
Women's Sports Mix, Cambridge Radio.
You're listening to the Sports Mix with Alex and Amy. And Amy, we're going to have some football now.
Yes, well, we were talking to Gisela earlier of Cambridge United Women and mentioned that they had that upcoming Chesham game. We spoke to Gisela a bit ahead of the interview going out, so that game has now been played. It was looking good at half-time, 2-0, both goals from Jade Bell. It did end up 2-2 in the end, so point each. Chesham came back in the second half. Histon ladies, they continue their impressive campaign, and I spoke to assistant manager Liz Pamplin about their 4-3 win against Hitchin.
It was an interesting one. It was we're getting towards the end, the part of the season where perhaps some nerves are kicking in. We've got a few more points we need for the title and promotion, so maybe we're starting games a little bit slowly, and Hitchin managed to take the lead and go ahead early on. But this season we've been very, very good at coming back when we've been down early on in a game, and we managed to get ourselves back into the game and roared on back to a 4-1 in our advantage. Then we were just perhaps a little bit sloppier than usual in the last 5 minutes of the game, and so it ended up looking quite close, and we were doing a little bit of the keeping the ball in the corner in the last 2 minutes of injury time just to make sure we secured the win. But we're delighted with it because again, every club in the league at the moment is wanting to take points off us, so every game is just a different challenge.
Well done. You did what you needed to do. You've kept winning, and it's absolutely incredible. And also a brace for Evie Nichols in this game.
Yes, Evie's first goal was stunning. It was the second goal in the game, and she's picked it up on probably about 20 yards and just banged it in the top corner. And that's what Evie can do. She's got that ability. And then the second one was a really well taken penalty. Evie's our top scorer. Evie's our centre forward. So penalties and any other chances, she'll gobble them up.
In terms of stats for Evie this season, and you'd said at the beginning, let's get the golden boot. Let's get as many goals as we can. Evie now has 36 goals all in and 26 in the league. You must be delighted with that. These are huge numbers.
Yeah, and you know what? We're delighted with Evie, and she's a young player who's really still learning a trade in the game, but she's so hungry to learn, and she'll practice, and she'll be hard on herself even in practice when perhaps then the balls are not going in the back of the net. And yeah, I mean, brilliant. We're also putting out posts at the moment for players who've reached 50 appearances, and Evie's hit 50 appearances in the Hitchin game and 55 goals in 50 appearances at 18 years old is pretty special.
And to put this into perspective, in I'd say a fairly high scoring league, the player behind Evie for the Golden Boot is on 14 goals.
Yeah, the second and third are both on 14 goals. So, yeah, I mean, that's the better part of 10, 12 goals behind. So, yeah, that's a really good achievement. You can't say any higher about how well she's done.
So let's look at the next game. This is the semi-final against Newmarket.
Yeah, semi-final of the County Cup. So this was the cup that we managed to, I wasn't there at the time, but Histon managed to get into the final of last year. And so we're hoping to go back to the final again this year and give a good shot of winning it. So, yeah, the Newmarket game will be tough. Newmarket are a strong side in our division, and of course it's a local derby. We're happy that we're at home, so we're looking forward to a really, really tough fixture, and we'll be ready for the game and hope to manage to get through to the final. That's the goal at the end of the day.
That's this weekend if you're listening live on Cambridge Radio. That's on the 15th of March. And we were discussing last time, Liz, on the Sports Mix, that it could potentially be 2 wins to secure promotion. You got that win against Hitchin Bells. Next up in the league, it's an away game at Biggleswade on the 22nd, where a win would get you there.
Yeah, 3 points is what we need at the moment, depending on results for other clubs this Sunday when we're in semi-final action, but we'd like to be able to win it on our own terms. So yes, just 3 points to secure promotion and be champions. So we're quietly confident. We've played well all season. We know that if we can reproduce what we've done for the rest of the season, that we can go to Biggleswade and win the match, but it'll be tough. Biggleswade need all the points they can get there. They're struggling a little in the league this year, so they'll be fighting for every point for their own safety. So we have to get ourselves very well prepared and go to Biggleswade ready for another scrap. So we're really excited about it, and we'll go and do our very best.
Thank you very much, Liz, and amazing that they're still on course for the 100% win record.
Yeah, Alex. That's very exciting, isn't it? And good luck in that Biggleswade game. I say good luck. They don't need it. They're very good, and they know what they're doing. They're very driven, aren't they? They
are, and there is a chance, depending on how results go, they might have actually clinched it the week that they're not playing because they've got the County Cup. But either way, however it goes, amazing season.
Excellent,
and it's just a matter of time, really, for that one. Cambridge City now, 2 wins on the bounce. Both away, a 1-0 and a 5-0. The 5-0 was against Fulbourn, so that's obviously bad news for Fulbourn. But they've come up from non-league, so I think they've hopefully learned a lot from this season. They are sadly kind of all but relegated, Fulbourn. They've actually only got 2 games left because they haven't had many postponements and things like that. And with their goal difference, it's just not going to be enough. But we'll see. And Cambridge City, their next game is that cup tie that we said that the U's have. That's against Cambridge City on March 15th. Their next league game, and they'll be hoping to keep the away form going. They travel to Dunstable on March the 22nd.
This is Cambridge Radio, Women's Sports Mix.
Hello, you are listening to the Women's Sports Mix with Alex and Amy, and it's nearly time to say goodbye.
It is, so thank you very much to our guests on this episode, Gisela Otten, Fabia Howell, Liz Pamplin and Christina Ashley.
And on our next show, we'll be speaking to Olympian Tess Howard, MBE. She is a England hockey player and also a sports kit activist, she likes to call herself, and she set up a really exciting, inclusive sportswear organisation.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to hearing from Tess, aren't we? That should be a good one. So do listen to that one. You can listen back to this episode on demand at cambridge.radio. You can search for the Women's Sports Mix on podcast platforms. And our next episode with Tess is on Cambridge Radio in 2 weeks' time, Thursday, March the 26th. We will see you then.
Bye.